The Wild Boars of Madness. Chapter 7. AZhen.
Cargill staff elapsed along with the cedarwood frame, undergoing various collisions and compressions, finally crashing onto the rocks. Flesh and blood blurred. Life extinguished. It had been the 10th day and night toiling and hurrying, riding up to the prominent characters at AZhen. The cedarwood frame was hastily constructed, using chopped trees, about 6 or 7 meters high and wide, bound with hemp ropes and not a single nail used. The carpenter Myung originally said he needed over 101-foot-long forged iron centipede nails, with 2 centipede nails securing each node. The centipede nails had to be bought in the county town, but there was no time and there were no available people to go buy them. Myung's head was struck by the end of a cedar pole, and he lay on the ground convulsing, foaming at the mouth. Myung knew that the frame wasn't sturdy, just a makeshift effort, holding on to 3 parts helplessness and 7 parts luck. At that moment, he was squatting on the rocky ground about 6 meters away, smoking with a few helpers, not expecting that he'd still have bad luck. He suffered a concussion. Little Laoyang was also on the frame, the highest level. Quick-witted, he felt a looseness under his feet, immediately let go of the scrub brush, grabbed onto a protruding stone tip with one hand, and wedged the other hand into a rock crevice. Despite these efforts, he still slid down, breaking one leg. Last time it was the left leg. This time it's the right leg. 15 years old was a difficult age for Laoyang. Later, Laoyang was unwilling to mention this age much. If forced, he would say that the year he broke both legs sounded a bit grand. 2 people and a corpse were sent to the town hospital. The commune secretary rushed to the scene on the cliff, looking at the mess of cedarwood with bark, then at the half-written characters on the cliff, his face ashen. 4 or 5 community members stood in the penetrating mountain wind, their expressions disheartened. The team leader squatted on the ground, silent. The secretary said, "Keep writing." No one responded. "No, butcher, and we wouldn't even eat pigs with her." The secretary asked. Finally, no one responded. The secretary said, "Have you all lost your voices?" The team leader said, "No one knows how to write." The major events in Huahezagul Valley were still progressing briskly. On the sunlit slope, sparsely scattered trees and bushes were cut down. Terraced fields were built with slabs and random stones. Meadows were turned over from every corner of Huahezagul Valley, uprooting trees, excavating tree roots, bringing in sand and filling the terraced fields. Over 1,000 men and women worked until the heavy snow sealed off the mountain, reclaiming over 30 mu of land. BJ Extended Jeep came again, and Director Lai and his team encountered the secretary's group at the entrance of Huahezagul Valley. On the roadside, you could see the agricultural corridors made of white lime mortar on the cliff, and behind it, the cliff was covered with white snow, faint and indistinct. Director Lai said, 30-odd mu of turf fields is a good start. Although it's not a lot, not even worth reporting, it's still a good start. Let's go in and take a look. The commune secretary said, "The snow under the road is over a foot deep, very dangerous. Please rest assured, leaders and organizers. Before the heavy snow sealed off the mountain, we had already prepared turf fields for 300 mu. There is little soil in Huahezagul Valley, so next spring, we will dig fertile soil from the plain below and fill it up. We've planned it out. Next year, we'll plant in a season of dryland crops and we can expect a good harvest. Like launch a satellite of the 300 mu of turf fields, please, Director Lai." After taking a glance at the accumulated snow below the road, he turned around and shook hands with the people on site. "Comrades, you've worked hard. Comrades, your hands are very cold. The weather is bad. Pay attention to keeping warm." A cold sweat broke out on the commune secretary's neck and forehead. In that particular year, the weather was exceptionally cold. Fortunately, after constructing turf fields and cutting down numerous trees and shrubs, each household received some branches. When the damp wood was burned, smoke billowed, providing a certain warmth. Laoyang rubbed her swollen eyes, coughing as she fumbled to bring a freshly brewed noodle soup to Yang. Laoyang Mum said, "It takes 100 days to heal bones and muscles. It takes 100 days to nurture a single bone. If those piglets were still here, slaughtering one would quickly replenish our bodies." While saying this, tears rolled down her cheeks. Mrs. Yang. A clear bell-like voice came from outside the door. Hearing this, young Laoyang blushed, hastily placing the bowl of noodle soup at the bedside and covering himself with a blanket. Lao Yang, fumbling, walked to the door, supporting herself against the door frame as she asked, "Is that you, AZhen?" AZhen outside replied, "Yes. My dad caught several mountain rabbits in the mountains, slaughtered them, and instructed me to bring one to your family. And Yang, the rabbit, is hanging on the door. I'm leaving." Lao Yang, fumbling, opened the door, and a gust of cold wind rushed in. Indeed, AZhen had already left. Lao Yang felt the frozen rabbit, brought it inside, and showed it to Lao Yang. "Well, AZhen is still good," she shouted. "Looks lively, has a pleasant voice, and is handsome," Lao Yang said. "You can't see anything with your eyes. How can you tell if someone is handsome or not?" In that year, food was scarce, and people from the mountains gathered in groups to forage for food in the mountains, relying on the mountains for sustenance. The mountain folks had some skills. Normally, winter was an excellent time for hunting. Animal tracks were clear in the snowy terrain, and the cold weather made it easy to spot traces. However, that year, the snow was exceptionally deep, knee-deep in flat areas and immeasurable in the gullies. Walking became difficult, and tracking and hunting became even more challenging. The construction of turf fields in the autumn altered the landscape. Small pits were a hazard, causing only a sprained ankle, but larger pits turned into ice traps. If someone accidentally fell in, they might remain frozen inside for half the night. After enduring the long winter, Yang turned 16 and was able to walk on the ground again. Lao Yang tidied up a 6-foot-long wool fur that had been stored away. She cleaned it thoroughly and asked Lao Yang to deliver it to the team leader's house. Expressing gratitude for the support throughout the winter and discussing his formal membership in the commune. The wool fur was a masterpiece by Lao Yang Dad. A shot right between the eyes, the entire pelt was flawlessly removed. Lao Yang had always cherished this fur, intending to use it as a betrothal gift for her future daughter-in-law. Young Lao Yang held the neatly rolled fur, and a warm feeling extended from his chest to his heart. He walked slowly along the slope, where the snow hadn't completely melted, making the mountain path slippery. Upon reaching the captain's backyard retaining wall, suddenly a faint cry wafted through the wind. It was AZhen. Yang halted his steps. "If he keeps bothering you, tell him that you need to focus on your studies. We can discuss this later. Education is essential, and you should continue attending school." These words were spoken softly, with a suppressed tone in the team leader's voice. "I will go." The once silver bell-like voice now carried a slight harshness, a touch of sobbing, and a strong stubbornness. "AZhen, your father wants to tell you that the chaos outside is temporary. It's not easy to get into high school, and you should continue your education. People from the mountains seldom achieve much. Being stuck in the mountains for generations is not a good thing. Look at Uncle Yang. He's a good person, kind-hearted and capable. That year, he and the leopard both perished in the Huahezigu Valley, leaving behind a widow and an orphan. Days passed by, and we don't know when things will turn around." Hearing this, young Lao Yang felt a pain in his heart. Initially planning to leave upon learning of AZhen's family troubles and return another time, he now took half a step forward, leaning against the stone wall, wanting to hear more clearly. Pa, that man is a teacher in the 2nd grade. When there's no class, he stares at me from outside the classroom window. AZhen, is he a teacher at your school? That's unacceptable. Pa, that man was originally studying at a university in the provincial capital. There was a disturbance in the university and his father called him back. He teaches classes at the school for a few days. AZhen, a teacher should be cultured and understand etiquette. It's not appropriate for him to be unclear with a student. But he is also a student. It's not too excessive. If you don't like him, tell him directly. It's better for him to get up early. Pa, I've told him clearly, but he still bothers me. AZhen, find out which family he's from. I'll go talk to his father. Pa, I didn't ask him. Rumors say he's Director Lai's son from the county committee. There was a silence that lasted the time it takes to blink 10 times. AZhen, your father tells you, if you really don't like him, be clear with him. Before that, observe him closely. You can tell if he's a good or bad person. If he's bad, keep your distance. In broad daylight, there's nothing to fear. If he's good, you should be prepared. Your grandmother gave birth to your mother when she was 16.